Welcome back, and today we are going to be playing out the F-14A Tomcat, and I was looking to get some dogfights in this thing as the plane is actually quite good at them, at least as long as you fold the wings forward. If you don't, I mean, it looks like a massive delta wing with the parachute drag of an entire building, so you want to avoid that. But with the wings swept forward and sometimes with the flaps, the turn rate of this thing is actually quite insane. Now you need two things to have good dogfights: it's not too many people to interrupt you, and it's to have a light plane. And 1 plus 1 is 27, and therefore what we are gonna do is actually BVR spam our phoenixes at the start of the game. We bag ourselves an ace in approximately 16 seconds, and now we are clean. Now this game in particular, the game instantly imploded, so there was really not much to kill after this, but this is how I'm going to be opening all my games, for the sole reason that I don't want missiles on my plane, and that I want to kind of kill the horde before the merge really happens. So you're gonna see that the start of the game is always going to be looking like this. Now it's not always as effective as that, of course, and it's a bit of a gimmick. I mean, you will probably get 1, 2, sometimes 3 kills basically every game. If they try to multi-pad it, it blows up below them and it blows them up anyway, so you are gonna be seeing a lot of hits. The worst I've gotten is like 3 assists and a kill. But overall, it is decently effective, but keep in mind that later on in the game, you are out of radar missiles and you don't have the ability to really contest head-ons anymore. So you do have to play around it, so I recommend you to do it on maps like this one or the one after this, but it's actually some terrain to merge with people. You let them come to you, and then once they start getting close enough, you fold out your level 10 Gyat and you just start mogging them. This thing dogfights about everything. I haven't really ran into any planes that gave me massive issues. Now it also really depends on the fuel weight and stuff, so I am gonna be running pretty low fuel. I take off with about 35 minutes, I burn through it till about 20-ish, and then when you run into people, you really just take a massive dump on everyone. Now there are some planes that you want to be careful of, mainly when you get up tiered. F-16s for example will absolutely rinse your ass, and you do need to be careful of those, but luckily I had a pretty decent time in the matchmaker and I didn't really see any of them. Keep in mind, again, this is not the most valid tactic, especially the going back in part. If you really want to do this, you can of course shoot 6 of your phoenixes, turn around, rearm, repeat, but that's not really what I am about. I actually want to fight people. So there's a tornado coming in, and I mean, it's a tornado. We really don't have to talk about anything here, but it's about the way I engage him, where I'm trying to stay low. I'm trying to keep him in the thicker air so that his missiles have less range. I'm not entirely sure which tornado it is. And then once we start getting close enough, I'm going to start kind of turning into him. I'm going to start somewhat multi-patting. And then I kind of just merge with him. Now it's a GR1, which is definitely not very scary. We fold our Gyat out a little bit and we pitch up directly behind him. Now this guy is not going to be taking the fight completely. Now he is going to turn in for a little bit here, but he notices that I am going to absolutely shit on him, and he is just not going to have any of it, and he's going to fly away. Now if he tries to energy trap me from this point out, he just dies, and I'm just spamming my missiles off because I thought that with his afterburner on it would actually just go straight through, but the missiles didn't give a shit, and now he's just going to fly away. Now in the long run I will just catch him, so he needs to actually start doing something here. He's on the clock. The longer he waits, the bigger my advantage becomes, because I'm gonna get more energy than him. I'm gonna outmaneuver him, and I'm already on his 6. So he starts diving, he puts a smoke on like, you're not gonna catch me, but I'm faster than him. So this is not gonna work out. So I'm gonna start diving slightly. I'm not gonna go straight back down to the deck. I'm just putting my nose to where he is going to be. And then when he tops out, I'm still cutting him off. I need to travel less distance, which means that I'm gonna be catching him even quicker, which is fantastic. Now the overspeed warning pops up, but I mean, I'm not cutting my throttle because I'm scared of ripping here. It's because I'm already catching him quite rapidly, and I simply just don't want to overshoot. And it's not because I'm scared of the tornado, it's because I don't want him to run away again, because I don't have missiles, and I just don't want to overshoot. I just want to kill this guy as quickly as possible and get on with my life. Now this guy is going to have an absolutely terrible time because it is a tornado, and this is not what the kill is about. This game is not going to be me dogfighting this tornado, who is actually just him overshooting and then me running his ass down. The fun part is about to start. Now you can tell that the game is looking kinda spicy. I'm out of missiles and I need to get a few more kills. and they're all gonna be dogfights because I don't have any missiles. Now we have 30 minutes of fuel, so I don't want to afterburn too much, but I do want to get a little bit of speed on. So I'm gonna afterburn here to accelerate a little bit to about Mach 0.85, maybe 0.9, and then we merge with the 23. Now the 23 is an ML, so he doesn't have the slats, which means that we should be able to turn inside of him very rapidly. So we fold our ass out, and we are just going to be turning straight into this guy. Now we are going to use the flaps here, because I'm not looking for prolonged. I just want to kill this guy as fast as humanly possible. So yes, I'm not playing this completely optimally, but I'm playing this on the clock, because I need these guys to die very quickly. So we turn in with our keyboard, we crit him, and then we take his plane apart with the third burst, I guess. Plane didn't really like dying, and now we're going to dive back down to the deck. Now I'm going to use this portion of the dive to pick up speed without the afterburner to conserve some fuel. And then once we start getting a little bit lower, I'm going to throttle up a little bit more, and we're going to do the same thing. We are going to go about 0.85, 0.9, and then we're going to cut the afterburner, or at least not use the full one. You can see that I'm using only 1% of the afterburner, I guess 10%. And we're going to merge with the Mirage. Now I'm not sure if it's a 2000 or an F1, which means that I'm going to keep a little bit more speed. The second I see it's an F1, well, this guy is already dead. So we just kind of turn in, but he flies away. So I'm not going to be sticking that fight for now, because I don't have the fuel for that. I need to get back to my runway, and I'm not really necessarily going back to the airfield. I am mostly going back this way, so that if he follows me, I'm going to be closer to my runway, which means I'm going to have an easier time to actually land. And I pop an order there so that they can blind hunt me in the middle of this fight. In case that I win it, I'm going to be able to land without having a massive target on my back. Now I know it's an F1, so I don't have to go as fast, so I'm going to start merging at about 0.95. Just go up over his nose, we fold the wings out, and I mean that's all she wrote really. The F1C doesn't have much of a chance, and I'm just trying to conserve my speed because this guy ran away before, so I'm trying to stay somewhat faster behind him. I'm not necessarily trying to kill him as fast as possible, because you saw earlier that if he has a bit more speed, he just runs away and he just turns back around when I turn around to my runway, which is bad news, because that way he's gonna run me out of fuel. So we kill him and we go back to the runway. Now there's only like 3 guys left, so we just want to make sure that there is no one behind us, and then we just go back to the runway. And the plane in itself is extremely solid. Now the way I flew it of course wasn't completely ideal, and most of my games kind of looked like this. So I apologize that I didn't actually get that many dogfights. It didn't end up working exactly as planned, so maybe 1 + 1 is indeed 27. But I didn't want to upload a 20-minute video of me simply slinging max range Phoenix, or not max range, but like long range Phoenixes. I feel like there is enough Fox 3 content on YouTube at this point. It's all kind of the same. And I think after 2 or 3 clips of me slinging long range Phoenixes, you kind of get the gist of it. You lock them up, you shoot the missile at them. You kind of hold lock until the outer circle on the thingy on the radar screen disappears, and after that the missile goes active. You turn around and you let the missile do its thing. Now if you want a more in-depth Fox 3 guide, or a radar missile guide in general, I made one very recently if you want to have a little bit more of an in-depth experience. But in general, it is super simple. You just shoot your shit off, you turn around, and then you look for a straggler. Now in this case I actually got engaged, which is fantastic. You see in the background that we are getting locked up. Now the RWR on this plane blows a massive cock, but at least it warns you that there is something coming. Now we see the contrail, I'm not sure what it is, and for now I'm simply gonna try to get away from him for 2 reasons. I want to get distance from my team so I don't get interrupted. I also want distance from his team because I don't want to get interrupted. Now 2v1 in a Tomcat, depending on what you're fighting, isn't a massive issue, because it actually is quite good at keeping its speed. But for now, I am actually gonna try to dive into the terrain here, as I talked about earlier in this video, so that I can just simply block his shots. Fox 1 missiles are a lot harder to notch in this game, because the radar on the plane is a lot stronger and the notch window is a lot smaller. So I like to just kinda put something in between us. There comes the first missile. It's an FG1. Now it's a little bit laughable, but again, it's about the engagement here. The dogfight in itself is going to be pretty easily won, but the Tomcat wins that dogfight relatively easily versus most planes, so I do think that is still somewhat representative. So he gets pretty close. We fold our Gyat out and we just go up over his nose. We pitch into the direction that he is going to be. And I mean, that's it. He dies. I fold my wings out. I dodge a shot right here because he actually did a pretty good job in like slowing down and getting an angle on me, but I anticipated it. I reacted to it. And then when we have our wings folded out, the Phantom has absolutely zero chance. And he goes right back to the hangar. And that's actually it. The game has been won. 20 seconds later it says enemy team lost all players. And that's it. And that's why I didn't want to bore you with that. Now I'm gonna give you one more clip of the exact same thing happening. And I think then the message is pretty clear. You shoot it off, you see the dotted lines, you see the straight lines. And I'm just gonna wait for the circles on the right. Look at the radar, there's little circles around the dots. The second you see those circles disappear, the missile is now tracking under his own radar. There you go, that's another dot gone. Circle gone. Circle gone. And I turn out. That's it. And we start getting some severe damages. Now, really, the damage here is gonna be pretty much anything but severe. Because I get like 1 kill with the Phoenixes. Oh, 2. No, there we go. We got 2. There we go. Nice. Now, we turn around. We let the missile do its thing. And that was literally it. Now, I flew around doing a whole lot of nothing for a bit. I managed to spray someone down with a gun. But whatever. And then the Mirage. Now, this is a Mirage 2000. So I do want to be somewhat careful of him. And again, I don't want to have to deal with notching. Because it makes the merge a lot more in his favor, and I don't want that, so I'm simply going to be using terrain. And you can tell that I'm not really engaging him, I'm letting him come to me, because this is the only, yeah, it's a mountain, shut up, I'm Dutch, that I have here. So I want to use it. 4 kilometers, we start closing the gap a little bit, we start getting a little bit closer. The second I pop up, it's about 2 kilometers, he doesn't have the ability to lock to me anymore with his R530s. And we fold the wings out, we are on like 2 minutes of fuel, and we just completely cut inside of this dude, because well, he just took off, so he is heavy as balls. And that's it. Hope it was enjoyable nonetheless, or helpful in the very least. And that's all I have for you today. Thank you for watching, and you'll see me in the next one.